Portal open. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to
Apps Global. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, you are welcome to Hops Global. Here we come here for education, all things about crypto, all things about Pi Network, all things that you need to know. And today, I know we are all here to hear what Dr. Nicholas Kokkalis, who is the founder and the head of operations of the Pi Network, had to say at the Consensus 2025. Today is the 16th of May, which is the last day for the Consensus 2025, and hence it's the last day for all of the amazing speakers to come to a close, and hence I know a lot of people have been waiting for Dr. Nicholas Kokkalis. But the truth of the matter is that Dr. Nicholas Kokkalis has already come in to deliver his speech or message regarding the Pi network on the Consensus 2025. A lot of people have missed it, and I know a lot of people are still on the page on CoinDex main site, and they are still asking, where is Dr. Nicholas Kokkalis's message? We are waiting. It's because of him that we are here, etc. And it's true. It's true, and it's important. However, like I said, I'm always here to bring you up-to-date information regarding this. So I have the video. Okay, I have the video. I have access to the video of the communication or the conversation between Dr. Nicholas Kokkalis and the panel that he came or he was joined with, or he came with, and both you and I, we're going to take our time to listen, and also we will come in with the commentaries to talk about what he said. You have the opportunity to also put in what you think about what he said, and some of the questions that were asked to him, but you have to pay attention. So what happened was, which I'm still trying to put my mind out around it, is, in my opinion, the PyCore team could have had somebody who was in charge of making sure they are getting all this information for all the Pi network groups. Okay, because it's very, very important that, and for that reason, why a lot of people actually tune in to Consensus to hear what he had to say. So without further ado, we're going to jump in and we're going to listen. So I want you to pay attention. Please do share this message. If today's your first time coming on here, you're welcome to Hops Global. Please do subscribe, be a part of this, because I bring you up-to-date information all around. Okay. Now the information is out there, but it's always nice when you get to watch and listen with people of like minds, because then you get to enjoy it very much. All right. So without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, get some popcorn. Please pay attention, because the video was recorded using someone else's phone to do the recording. Therefore, you have to pay attention to be able to listen to whatever he said. But don't worry, I also have access to I've combined all that he said into a nutshell, and I'll be able to go over with it. But for the first time, it's just for you to listen. Let's all listen and hear what Dr. Nicholas Kokkalis, the man that we've all been waiting for, to hear what he had to say concerning the Pi network on the Consensus 2025. Yes, he did come to the Consensus. Let's not forget that. Okay, so we just jumping in.
It's Monday.com.
You don't know Monday.com? This is Monday.com. It's a
Okay, let me just come back. So
Thank God we got Monday.com.
Forget
You
about
won't
the
believe what new leadership just laid
intro
on us.
here.
They want us
It's
to
coming
double
in,
our goals
so
for the year.
skip that. There we go.
Yes, that next phase of true leadership adoption. So I am thrilled by the dream team we have to explore that today. Please welcome David Fields, Lele, Eric Weiner, Nicholas Kokkalis, and Sam Ewan, my colleague at CoinDesk. Thank you.
So let's look out for Dr. Nicholas Kokkalis. So he's going to be coming very shortly.
Raise your hand if
There he comes, ladies and gentlemen. Dr. Nicholas Kokkalis at the consensus. There he is. Whoever zoomed in, obviously, is somebody who.
Wonderful panel. I'm very excited to be able to moderate this with these 4 brilliant people. I'm going to learn a lot. I'm Sam Ewan from CoinDesk. I head up the innovation practice, so I'm going to take a lot of notes on what we're talking about today. But I would love, Lele,
You can come to the comment section, you know, if you want to say something.
Give us a 20-second who you are, and then we'll go down the panel.
Sure. Really great to see everyone. I love Toronto. So I'm Lele. I'm VP and Head of Business Development at Kite AI. Kite AI is an AI Layer 1 focused on building an open marketplace for agents, models, and data. And myself, I come from more of a TradFi background. I worked on Wall Street for over 10 years and came to the blockchain space about 5 years ago.
Eric?
Hey, I'm Eric Weiner. I'm the CTO of Near AI. Near AI is kind of an offshoot of the Near protocol L1. We're focused on building a framework for AI agent hosting, for agents to talk to other agents, transact, pay, and the app layer on top of that.
Hi, I'm David Fields. I'm co-founder and CEO at Ready AI. We're focused on structuring all the world's data and making it universally accessible to AI. And we're built on BitTensor, one of the leading crypto AI protocols.
I am Nicholas Kokkalis. I am one of the co-founders of Pi Network and heading the technology. Pi Network is a social network with tens of millions of people with its own embedded cryptocurrency, Pi. People have been mining it for the last 6 years now. We've been using it. We have been creating apps. And one unique feature about Pi is that every account on the blockchain, before it's activated, it needs to pass identity verification.
All right, so what I want to start with, again, you can give me a really short answer, is in the worlds that each of you are playing within the infra side and in AI, you know, I wanted you to give me kind of the analogous place we are in the technology spectrum, right? So if we think of YouTube and streaming video, are we still in the VHS era when it comes to what we're doing? So Nick, let's start with you.
Oh wow, so that's a good question. So I think that every time in history there's technologies that are being invented, and then there's a little bit of lag and a little bit of time between when they are invented and they are actually being. So that's where we are with Gen AI. So especially with the generative AI and AI in general, there has been a leap forward, a breakthrough in what the models can achieve. And now is the time to build great apps and great products. In the same way that, you know, when electricity was created, not every house had it, not every industrialization wasn't there, or when the combustion engine was there, not everyone had a car. What was the exact product was not really known. So that's where we are right now. It's an exciting time to live.
All right, we're at the combustion engine. I'm taking away from David, where are we right now?
Yeah, and I think a lot about this. I sort of feel like we're, you know, in the 90s of the internet. The big difference is there's massive distribution, right, that's been laid over the last 25 years since then. And so I think because of that, you know, you've seen, you know, some unbelievable growth and, you know, from 0 to 100 million in revenue by the, you know, OpenAI, but then Cursor doing it like, you know, in record time. And that's because distribution is now dramatically different than what it was then. And I think it's going to accelerate the pace at which we see AI uptake.
Eric, where are we?
I think that's a really good point. I love that we're all coming up with different analogies here. The one I like is, remember when like the iPhone came out and then they put the App Store on there and you're like, oh my god, you can do this thing where you like drink a beer and it like falls out of the iPhone. Or like you can download a song straight to your phone. It can't get better than this. This is, wow, look at all these things. And it turns out that, you know, another 15 years of amazing things to build. We're at that stage where it feels like you're doing so much, but it's really just scratch surface. And to your guys' points, like it's going to accelerate even faster this time, faster than we maybe handle.
Right?
Yeah, I agree with what a lot of has already been said. I think that we're in the age of agents. So, before it was about desktop or web, then came the era of mobile, and now is the time for agents. And a lot of things have happened to make that a lot easier. Better agent frameworks like MCP, A2A, lower inference costs, stronger foundationals. And so we'll see a lot more of that to come. But I think it is really important to have more of a trust framework for humans to interact with agents and also agents to autonomously interact with agents as well.
Leia, I want to pull on that thread a little bit. I feel like we're still like a rotary phone when it comes to agentic AI. I'm frightened about what's going to happen in the same way that I'm turned on by it, right? Like I want agentic AI, but I'm very scared of what it's going to do when it stops asking for permission. So as you guys are building your systems, how are you kind of putting into place the guardrails that allow agentic AI to thrive without letting it do the things we don't want it to do in the movies we've seen about the future?
Yeah, I think that's a really good question. That's also where blockchain is very helpful, because the blockchain allows for a lot of the attribution, provenance on-chain. You can track how an agent was created from the data that went into the agents and model builders, and you can also have a lot of smart contracts have programmable logic, which serves as a service agreement, which helps you check the performance of agents, potentially resolve disputes as well. And of course, the blockchain provides a payment rails, because for agents, it's very difficult to.
What lies beyond, under skies I've never seen.
Access credit cards or someone's bank accounts, but stablecoin and blockchain rails is a natural fit for them.
Nicholas, the Pi network has millions of people. We found this out the hard way when we were announcing your panel. They went crazy. I don't know how many of them are synthetic. I don't know how many of them are real. But in dealing with the vast numbers that you're dealing with, are you worried that at some point it kind of goes out of control where this group mass starts to do the things it wants to do, whether you want it or not?
Yeah, that's a problem, a challenge not only for Pi, but for the world going forward, because now with generative AI, it's becoming less and less easy to distinguish a real human from AI. It used to be AI used to be pretty dumb, you could tell immediately, but now it's not that easy. So I opted for following a unique approach, which was to KYC every single individual using identity verification, turning your head left and right, and all that stuff. And we think that this approach is going to be very useful, especially in the future, when you want to distinguish between 1,000 fake bots and 1,000 real people, especially in a world where you want to be able to meritocratically and fairly distribute value or other applications like this. You need to be able to identify who is human and who is not.
David, we're talking backstage about what true proof of humanity means, especially at the enterprise level that you guys are playing at. So how important is it to allow that the human can have a touch on the AI systems that are being built?
Yeah, I think it's a really interesting, question. So, we do a lot in terms of structuring data for enterprise, and the big sort of why now for us was we saw a crossing point between where LLMs could do a lot of these data annotation tasks more effectively than humans, and so we enable a competitive landscape. It's decentralized, it's permissionless. We tap into global intelligence around the world. People can run their own models to do these data annotations, and we're seeing people perform these at 86% higher accuracy than humans, and we're doing 51% higher than kind of GPT's best models because they're optimized for this use case. And so I kind of see a bifurcation happening. There's a lot of data structuring that needs to be done at massive scale. You know, the largest companies in the world have decades of data that they need to structure for AI models and AI applications. So that can't all be done by humans. But I think, you know, we don't really play as much in the other side, which I think is quite important, which is more kind of human annotation, human labeling. You know, that's being done more and more with higher skilled areas. But we were talking a little bit backstage. Well, where does that crossing point happen for some of those higher skilled labor? Is that 3 years? Is that 10 years? Is it 20 years? But AIs are getting smarter at a crazy accelerated pace.
Eric, I want to ask you about the idea of decentralization. So Near is so early, was one of the pioneers in the idea of AI in decentralization. Ilya's been talking about this forever. I find it hard in the world outside of this room to talk about why decentralization matters in the AI system when, you know, when 400 million people are comfortable going to ChatGPT or use Grok or use Gemini. Why do we need decentralization, especially in the context of this agentic conversation?
Sure. I think of two things. First of all, I think it's more developers and enterprises that would drive decentralization than it is the actual end users. I like WhatsApp as an example here. Most people, like WhatsApp has billions of users, and they adopt a lot of the end-to-end encryption tech that's used in Signal. People are really paranoid about security. They tend to use Signal, but more people are using WhatsApp, and it's great that WhatsApp at least purports to care about that. Similarly, like you can convince developers that these principles are important, and they will pass it on to their users and convince their users. Secondly, as there's more autonomous agents going around, like that is just an absolute superpower. Once you have a network of autonomous agents communicating with each other, I think there's so many unlocks there, and a lot of those unlocks have existed since blockchains have really come into prominence. Like there's nothing you necessarily can't do with.
Oh no! Help me!
Beginner Ethereum smart contract. But once AI agents are talking to other AI agents and negotiating how they're going to transact, how they're going to get something done, how they're going to check each other's work, like that's just another opportunity for crypto adoption. That's another opportunity for where a human might be like, I'm not going to bother, we're just going to sign an escrow contract, or I'm not going to bother, I'm going to give you my credit card number. And AI is going to say, well, like, let's use a digital native payment system. Let's use a smart contract here. I think it's a whole nother adoption unlock for the world of decentralization.
But to push back, I mean, crypto adoption at some point we're going to stop talking about, right? I think about what is happening with, like, I spoke to Revolut last week. Revolut has 52 million users. 15 million of them have been involved in crypto transactions. They're just thinking they're playing in finance, right? So I guess, how important is it for the masses, again, you guys are building infra, how important is it for the masses to even have to understand that decentralization matters?
Oh, none. Any more than just in my previous example, most people even know what end-to-end encryption is. It's up to us to get ourselves out of the mindset of we need to be pushing crypto and into the mindset of we need to be pushing amazing applications, amazing use cases to people, and that just happen to be built on these principles. We're not going to win by pushing the principles. We're only going to win by making the stuff.
So, I mean, Nicholas, when you're talking to the Pi Army, and they're vocal, are they vocal about decentralization or are they vocal about Pi?
So I think that in general, when we're thinking of decentralization and AI, and there is another aspect. There is, of course, the technical challenges and how we can embed this into technology, how we can do the training, how we can distribute the reports. But there is also the concept of value capture. So in a future where more and more work is done by agents and by AI, it is important to make sure that the value is not only captured by a few individuals or a few companies, and it can be captured by a large number of people. And that's where blockchain in our projects can come to play. And the founders of those projects and the people who are working on it need to come to think about how blockchain can help with the value capture.
So when we think of building an agentic strategy, what are the 3 things that you need to know in order to be successful?
Yeah, well, I think also just going back to your question about decentralization, for users, I don't think they necessarily care so much about decentralization, but what I do care about is what are you doing with my data? How are you using it? And I think that's been one of the biggest criticisms of a lot of centralized companies. And there been a lot of lawsuits as well in terms of taking user data and training models behind the scenes. Also, I would love to get rewarded if you're using something that I have produced or I've interacted with to train an agent that then comes back and targets myself as well. And I think that's really important for a lot of different consumers out there. And then also in the centralized world, you are at the mercy of a lot of the pricing and rate limits. And for example, we were just about to launch our new testnet and featuring some of our partner agents, and a rate limit in pricing which immediately came up from kind of the core foundation model. So I think those things are very important.
But I still look at the fact that people are utilizing Spotify to listen to music, Netflix to watch videos, ChatGPT to do their OpenAI, their conversations with an LLM. And I don't think those users are thinking through the lens of, wait, do I get rewarded for what I'm giving in? I'm frightened by what ChatGPT knows about me, right? And I do it every day, and I willingly give that. And so I guess I hear you, and I think we all agree in theory, but I think in practice, big tech has shown us that people are much more interested in convenience than they are about that security. Am I getting that wrong?
Yeah, no, that's a very good point. And I think the biggest criticism about the blockchain space and something we need to collectively, devour is still the user experience. I think Eric, mentioned it before. We really need to build for the users. How do I make it easy? People are going to use something that is easy to use. So, still kind of the wallets, gas fees, very decentralized ecosystem. Those are some of the things that we collectively as builders need to provide.
All right, so David, again, you guys think about this to the enterprise level. How do you truly build a enterprise-grade app utilizing decentralized tools of AI?
Yeah, so just to touch on sort of the decentralized point, I mean, I've been in crypto for 12 plus years now, and I think most of us who have been here, for a while care about these things, but I think I've seen time and time again, that users, especially retail, or consumers, don't typically care about these things. They're sharing information sort of at will with the Googles of the world and now the ChatGPTs. What is interesting on the enterprise side, small to large scale, is data is really valuable, really matters. And decentralization, I think, has the potential to be a feature, not a bug. And I think we're in the early stages of sort of educating enterprises on why that's the case, but many of them are already inherently concerned about sharing their data with OpenAI, because now that's helping power their next model, so maybe disrupts their business in some way. So that gets me excited about the power of decentralization for enterprise specifically, kind of at small to large scale.
All right, so Eric, I'm going to ask you,
what if you can create your own website by saying, this is what I want? With Wix, you can.
Near is a blockchain that has gone through a lot of ups and downs, a lot of interesting evolutions. You can always focus on what you're doing. A lot of the crypto Twitter conversation is around token price, right? And I keep wondering, when we think of the stuff that everyone's building on stage here, there's still a token component. There's still the idea that you will financialize your participation in the network. And I think we all believe in that. But does that also end up being something where it still ends up being easier to say I'll pay $9.95 a month and not worry, compared to, oh, I have to do more work? And should we sort of try to divorce the idea that what's good for the world doesn't always have to be financialized, and that decentralization, to David's point, is something that actually makes us all better? And I guess, how do we do that?
I think as you get lower level, you tend to be a little bit more, you tend to use more like rational micropayment models. So this is true in Web2 space and in the Web3 space. And in the offline space, you know, if I'm buying something in bulk, I'm gonna pay in a certain way. You're on AWS, you're paying per minute or paying per function call. And similarly, in the crypto space, you're paying per transaction, storage fees and such. It makes total sense. I think where we've faltered is we don't put any layers between that and the user. And so yeah, like I think again, like the end user is still subject to all those behavioral factors. I would rather pay $10 a month and get $4.79 than feel like I'm a value, than feel like I'm getting nickel and dime my way up from $0 to $4.79. I'll pay the extra $6 for that. It's fine. But under the hood, and again, especially when you're relying on an AI agent working on your behalf to help make these decisions, to figure out what tools to use and how to pay for them, the AI agent is not subject to those behavioral factors, and it is willing to say, well, I do want to purchase, like, I'm going to pay the minimum possible for this, and I'm going to pay individually for this thing, I'm going to micro pay over there, and I need my rewards because I want to, optimize my own cost and for my own P&L, whether it's trading or just sort of working on their behalf to do his job. So I think that's really valuable, and I don't think it should go all the way up to the user level.
Running out of time, my last question relates exactly what you said, and I want to get each of your opinion on it. To me, stablecoins, agents, this is the future of commerce on the internet. Like, there's no doubt in my mind about that. So, how do you guys look at this idea of balancing out how we can build systems that allow for smooth and easy payments at the micro level, and know that the traditional financial system also says, no, what about all of our fees? Right? We want those back. But we are reinventing a new way of commerce, a new way of engaging with each other. So just give us, final thoughts to start with you, Nicholas, on bring agents, stablecoins, decentralized AI networks together and build the absolute future. You have 30 seconds.
Okay, so I think that I would take this as follows. I would say that people need to build great apps, great products. Once you have a great product, you will trump everything else. And in order for you to do this, you need to have a lot of trust, and today is a great time with generative AI, where there's a lot more people who can create and try products. So networks that have a lot of people will naturally be able to have a competitive advantage in being able to empowering them and creating a lot of different products and a lot of value. So by having value, eventually you're going to convince everyone else to accept it.
David?
Yeah, so kind of going back to the internet in the mid-90s analogy, I think that stablecoins has really been a foundation that's been laid now for a decade plus. I mean, it's a core piece of technology in the agentic system that I think that decade was really critical for. So I think you're going to see, an explosion in AI agents over, the next couple of years. And figuring out the right transition to like fully autonomous agents outside of kind of control and authorization will be interesting. There'll be blow-ups, but I think it's going to be really exciting for this next couple years.
Eric, agents, payments.
Yeah, I mean, I think payments are like under the core of so much of what we're trying to get at here. What we're trying to build, we call it AITP, which is our agent interaction and transaction protocol. It's how agents can pass structured data to other agents. That includes payment instructions. And we think the way that can succeed is, first of all, don't think of it as just fiat payments. Build in all the features of fiat payments, rewards, credit, dispute resolution, all done via AI. and things you can't do in the fiat world, like revenue share and affiliate revenue that hits everybody along the path of whoever made that transaction possible, even if it's a quarter of a cent's worth. That gets everybody incentivized to move from the fiat rails onto the crypto or the stablecoin rails. I think that's, and so like, then you build from there. You start to convince those AIs to move on to the AITP or whatever the crypto payment rail is going to be. Let bring us home.
Sure. So agents, stablecoin, right? And enterprise. So first of all, I think partnering with enterprises is key because they have the mass distribution users, and they always think about building in a sustainable way. Revenue is not bad, and that's something that the whole industry does need to really work towards. I think a way to position charging fees is there's always a way to have some type of fee split or a revenue share, or way to give back to the users that are using those stablecoin products.
All right. Well, that's all the time we have. Thank you all so much for this. It was wonderful. Thank you for being in the audience. And follow these people.
All right. So, ladies and gentlemen, that was how Dr.
I get 5% cash back on
Nicholas
everything I buy because I buy everything on my
Kokkalis,
Amex cashback every day.
speech and his talk at the conference Consensus 2025 went. It was very short, wasn't that extremely extensive, but I'm gonna go over some of the few things that he touched on, or in general what was said. There was a talk regarding how crypto talk about like stable coins. They also talked about the fact about AI, the innovation of AI integration with cryptocurrency. And one of the questions which was asked by with Dr. Nicholas Kokkalis was regarding the fact that the host was asking him that with the numbers of Pi network growing population, apparently when he was mentioned, I think backstage or something like that, a lot of or I think at another setting, a lot of people really cheered him on, because Dr. Nicholas Kokkalis is very popular. Pi Network has reached a really huge crowd all over the world, and hence it was easy for them to see him, and then they gave him the chair. But the question that was asked to him specifically was about how they are going to be able to, or how Pi Network is going to be able to deal with who is real and who is not real as a pioneer when it comes to the Pi Network. And I think he made statement. He made a response that yes, it's true, but then that question is not a question that should be or can be addressed just to Pi Network, but then it should be to the entire general cryptocurrency world. As with the advancement of AI right now, we have AI that is singing, doing all kinds of stuff, and the margin or the line between is this a real person, is that an AI, is very, very small. Now you can have AIs that mimic the voices of celebrities and etc. We have them there, so people could easily clone your voice, and if the person wants to use it for something very bad, they can do that with AI. So it has its ups and downs, and the same applies with cryptocurrency, or in the cryptocurrency world. Verification of ID could be, but maybe it hasn't gotten to that yet. But the possibility of people using AI to represent an image of somebody and saying, okay, I am this person, I'm that person, and using that in effect to be able to receive Pi coins or any other cryptocurrency is pretty high. And so that can be a challenge for those in the crypto space. So the question was asked to Dr. Nicholas Kokkalis, and he said that, well, I mean, we are working on it, but it's a question which is to the general crypto space. Therefore, it's something that needs to be addressed. So we're going to go to ChatGPT. I think he had a summary of everything that Dr. Nicholas Kokkalis touched on. Like I said, if you're just tuning in right now, you can watch the what do you call it, the whole talk after this show. But he touched on some few things, like I said, AI introduction into crypto, and also the way forward for Pi network. And he was asked to define, talk about Pi network, and he did make mention is a social cryptocurrency that aims to make cryptocurrency accessible to all in whole. So let's go over to what do you call it, ChatGPT had to say regarding a summary of Dr. Nicholas Kokkalis' speech. Okay, and then we will come back onto it. So this is a review, basically, of everything that was said. Okay. Oh, not that one. I think, yeah. So these are the key notes. Okay, if you can see, these are the key notes. Let me just make sure it's, yeah. So these are the key notes of what he touched on, and during his little very short speeches. It was about a 30-minute long, and I think each of them had a little bit of something to talk about their own sector and things. Now, this is a compilation coming from different sources, like for Bitcoin, Ethereum news regarding what he talked about and what he addressed. So the first one was I think he briefly touched on the launching of the Open Network, which was done in February 2025 by the Pi Network. So that Pi Network had transitioned from its enclosed network to the open network phase, enabling external connectivity and facilitating real-world transactions between verified users and businesses. They also touched on the scalable KYC solutions. I think introduced a native the KYC, know your customer system, combining AI-driven automation with human verification. So the ability for verifying real world, not just somebody generating an image and saying this is me, but then it could be an AI. But at the same time, to using human verification as like a combination of the two, to be able to help with knowing your customer, or verification of information, or verification of person in this case. So we talk about this approach ensures accurate and efficient identity verification for over 35 million users globally. So if you look at it technically, the Pi network has the biggest global usage or of pioneers in the world, or in the crypto world, and as such, such things as security and verification is primarily the main problem, and dealing with people on such large numbers can be very daunting. So these are some of the questions that were thrown to him, which is in truth is these are relevant questions, which should be asked of any cryptocurrency founder, or the head of something. Now, he also talked about the emphasis on the real world utility, talking about, he highlighted the importance of genuine use cases for Pi Network, with over 100 decentralized applications, DApps, which I think that lady, I've forgotten her name, also touched on it, that it is important that we have decentralization of cryptocurrency, so that it's not centralized, or it's not focused on one particular sector or individual, or exchange, or that bit, but having it decentralized is really key. And I think Pi Network has already achieved majority of them, with pioneers holding the most of the Pi coins, which is key, which is very key, and a very important aspect of it. So on that one, you can see that definitely it is something that was needed to be talked about. So he also, moving on, he also talked about having of course, with the emphasis, the D apps for Mainnet, that Pi network, the Pi browser and wallet facilitates seamless user experience, promoting adoption and engagement, and etc. So we also talked about the energy efficient mobile mining. The fact that Pi Network, I think that was something he talked about in the beginning bit, that energy efficient mobile mining. So discuss about Pi Network's unique consensus algorithm, which allows users to mine Pi coins on smartphones without significant energy consumption, making it accessible and eco-friendly. So, I mean, you did touch on the most important bits about Pi, the positive side of it, and which is great, Community-driven ecosystem. It stressed on the role of community in Pi network growth, encouraging developers and users to contribute to the ecosystem expansion and the creation of meaningful application. So, as part of the meaningful application, although I didn't hear him talk about the I didn't hear him talk about the recent introduction of the $100 million dollar fund made available for Pi Ventures, or for those who are for those developers and companies who are ready to develop real world utilities or apps that are going to really facilitate and help with Pi networks propagation, but primarily focus on the fact that if they are having difficulties financially in creation, $100 million is readily available for each and every company or group that have the idea, have the skill, but lack the funds to be able to make those ideas and skills come to full fruition. So that bit was also discussed or briefly touched on. And then he also touched on this is the last bit, addressing social media challenges. So introduced the Fireside Forum, which we all know as part of the Pi Network's social media platform within the Pi ecosystem, which facilitates with communication and social media. And also talked about the Web3 social media platform aimed at fostering positive interactions and reducing misinformation. Yeah. So, of course, it's kind of like a Pi having its own social media where you get to hear real information about Pi Network, and also leveraging blockchain technology for improved online social experience. So these were some of the few things that were touched on by Dr. Nicholas Kokkalis on the consensus 2025. Now, what are my personal takes? Okay, as a pioneer, what do I think about it? Now, first of all, the fact that Dr. Nicholas Kokkalis was invited to such an event is a remarkable feat, I believe. It's a feat which we all have to applaud it. Big ups, big ups, big ups, big ups. All those who said Pi Network was a scam, well, in your face now. Yep, absolutely. It's back on them because now they get to see that he has been invited to such a prestigious event, therefore proving the credibility of Pi Network. And I think this, in the coming days, will be able to boost the Pi Network as a crypto currency or a network. And also, I'm pretty sure he made in the coming days, we hopefully will get some more updates and information regarding new connections, new joints, partnerships, etc., and etc., from other links or connections that Dr. Nicholas or the Pi Core team made during the consensus 2025. Now, other things which could have been improved. Number one, communication. Okay, I believe that the Pi Core team they should have done a lot of communication, and improve upon their communicative abilities. Primarily with the fact that there were thousands of pioneers who were waiting to hear Dr. Nicholas Kokkalis talk or speak. I think the Pi Core team, if I was part of them, I think the first thing that I've done is to charge my camera, make sure I have it live and connected, just as I tried to do today, and I did show. And right from the get-go, even before that, do some quick talk with Dr. Nicholas Kokkalis, two pioneers, that pioneers, we are here, this and that. We got invited to the consensus, blah, blah, blah. We're going to be talking about AI, we're going to be talking about this, talking about that. We're going to be bringing you all the information that you need to know. And then during the event, they would have, covered it, streamed it online for all pioneers to see and to hear them clearly right from the get-go, start to finish. Because if you looked on CoinDex's platform where they were streaming the live event, every single person that you saw there was a pioneer sharing on, saying they want to see Dr. Nicholas Kokkalis. And I'm pretty sure it's still even ongoing, although it's supposed to have ended by now. But I'm pretty sure it's still ongoing, or maybe totally come to an end. It could be or maybe it's still ongoing. But yeah, I think this is something that going forward they need to work on. Honestly speaking, the they need to work on it ASAP. If the Parkour team want to keep maintaining the pioneers, okay, keep maintaining the pioneers. I mean, for example, of the $100 million capital for the ventures is great, but I think it's these small things which keeps the pioneers happy, and also a more clarity on the way forward will be very, very much appreciated. Now, I do know the Pycore team that they do watch my videos, so Dr. Nicholas Kokkalis, first of all, great job coming on or securing a role or as a speaker in the consensus 2025. Great speech. You did your best. It's 30 minutes. He's not the only one who was invited there. There were a panel. Therefore, you had very limited time. But I believe that all the questions that were thrown to him, he answered very well, to the best of his capacity. And moving on, I think we need to see more of his presence, more of the way forward. The activities that is ongoing should be more. And I know it's hard to deal with about over 60 million active Pi network users, but still, I still believe that a lot of things can be done by the Pi core team in order to secure and to help with the Pi network in the whole. So that's what I think. What do you think? Did you like what was presented? Do you have any questions? Do you think something could be done otherwise? Please put in the comment section, let us know. If today's your first time coming on to Hops Global, please do subscribe, join the family, join the team. You can scan the QR code that's going to show somewhere here above it. Yeah, scan this QR code, be part of the team. You can also join the WhatsApp team group, which is at the top. Yeah, right, left. Yeah, there, somewhere there. You can scan the QR code. It will bring you to over 40 very well pioneers who have, they have great minds, absolutely, and it's buzzing over there. You come to have a chat, learn new stuff that you need to know, and be part of the family. With that being said, thank you so much. Today is not going to be long. Thank you so much for tuning in. If you're just tuning in, you can watch the video of Dr. Nicholas Kokkalis and what he said and go over things. So on my side is going to be a wonderful, wonderful night. Have a great, great, great day. And don't forget Pi Network. Don't forget to mine your Pi coins. Hold on to your Pi coins. Pi Network price is only beginning. Come on. Bitcoin took almost 1 year, almost 1.5 years before it started picking up in terms of value. So Pi Network is we only launched just recently, so there's plenty to go. Let's just keep pushing. Let's just keep moving on. So thank you so much for tuning in. This is going to be me saying good night and have a lovely, lovely day, morning, afternoon, evening, whichever time zone you are. Thank you.
God, checked.
Bye-bye.
Crypto, checked. Hoppers, welcome home. All systems